Believable.
Start the clock.
The size of this man, and I don't think hitting him in the chest is going to work.
And if you've joined AEW since Brian Cage was out with injury, he is a very special kind of athlete, Taz. A potent combination of power, inventiveness, and speed.
Absolutely, he really is. I mean, for a guy with the size and pure muscle mass he has, he's a freak athlete. He's always been that type of athlete. And as we know, Kevin Knight, the TNT champion, is also a great athlete.
And Kevin Knight, though, unable to take Brian Cage off of his feet.
But I think Knight doesn't have a game plan. To my point before we saw was Brian Cage, he didn't know he was facing Brian Cage. That's the toughest thing. You don't know who you're going to face.
I think one of the good game plans will be not to run at it.
Cage extends that big thrust at Brian Cage, of course, former Ring of Honor World Television Champion. And he wants to do what Samoa Joe, Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, Tommaso Ciampa has done and parlay that Ring of Honor World Television Championship into a TNT Championship here in AEW, and perhaps is on the verge of doing so tonight as he answers this open challenge, this return from injury.
That's a great point there, Scott. We're looking at a man who, when he first arrived at Double or Nothing in 2020, won that casino ladder match. And he hasn't looked back. 87 wins in his career since then.
And I'm the guy who brought him in, me.
Okay, he did, Taz.
Well, Taz, you brought him in, but right now, Brian Cage, though, his allegiance is with the Don Callis family.
And that's the right move. That's a great job that he is aligned with Don Callis. I agree with that.
Hey, speaking of Don Callis, we now know the gentlemen who are going to be involved in the Stadium Stampede match on both sides. There you see him right there. Am I wrong, or was Andrade didn't seem to be on board with all this during that last thing?
Yeah, a little bit. He's a little tough to read, though, but I get the drift.
I think Andrade, if it was up to him, he'd be challenging for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing, but it is out of his hands as Brian Cage sending Kevin Knight into the corner. Cage answers. Big clothesline in the corner.
Brian Cage looks like he just got off a stage. Competing in a massive international bodybuilding show. I'm not kidding, man. Renee's right. He looks more jacked than ever.
Kevin Knight hangs out to the ropes. Goes up short. Cage out to the floor. Back up to the apron. But Kevin Knight puts him back down with a drop kick.
Good quickness by Knight, Tony.
Yeah, and one of the things that has made Brian Cage so special is a guy his size that can move and do the things that he can do that no one else can for a man his size. Look at that. It didn't even go down.
Just shrugged off Kevin Knight. And Knight's momentum carried him over the machine, and now Brian Cage drives Knight face first into the ring apron. This open challenge for the TNT Championship continues as Dynamite rolls. The most dangerous challenge to Kevin Knight's title just yet. Now Cage,
he's always innovative. He's got the win here.
Lateral press, and Knight able to kick out. Knight's made 3 successful defenses of that TNT Championship before. Claudio Castagnoli, MJF, and the cold-hearted handsome devil Hook. But right now, he is having the most difficulty of his reign thus far with the Machine Brian Cage.
No doubt, and we knew he would once we saw Cage come out from the entrance.
Brian Cage, no, Kevin Knight slips behind.
Good counter by Knight.
Back elbow, Cage tosses Knight into the ropes. Knight pops up. And Cage went to deposit the glutes of Cage's neck there in that top rope.
Yeah, just held on, just simply held on.
Kevin Knight springboard. Drop kick for the Jet.
Well, that's what Kevin needs right there. If it's slow down that arsenal of offensive attack by the Machine, can Kevin capitalize?
This TNT Championship match continues. Remember, fans, still to come tonight, we will announce the brackets for the 2026 Owen Hart Foundation men's and women's tournaments. Match will kick off at Double or Nothing. It will conclude at Forbidden Door later.
I don't think the good guys are going to win the men's tournament because Darby Allin is the champion. And I think the good guys are going to win the women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And it's because Tekla is the champion.
We make our return later on this summer. Scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen for a chance to join us. The Cathedral of Football, and for one more night, the Cathedral of Professional Wrestling in London.
Well, Brian Cage got a little overzealous, and Kevin Knight ducked and slipped a lot of his punches, and I think Knight is going to be the jet and fly like one.
Oh, my God. Second time that Kevin Knight's tried this, Taz. Third time is mistake.
Kevin Knight, though, reversing Cage into the steel ring steps.
Those 4 steps.
And now Knight charging in, leaps, and takes Brian Cage down.
That was just perseverance by Kevin Knight. It looked like he was going to hit those steps, but he just stayed with it, used his legs to get the advantage.
But Taz, taking Brian Cage off his feet is not something Kevin Knight's been able to do consistently here in this match.
Right, correct. And the thing is, you've got to try when a guy has that size advantage. Oh, what the hell is this? What is he doing out here, Bailey? Get him back in the back. I know he just wrestled. Get him in the back.
Lance Archer is about to intervene in this match. Speedball Mike
Lance
Bailey.
Archer was about to get involved in this match.
Brian Cage is insane.
Vintage Brian Cage right there.
Unbelievable.
One leg is hooked, and we have a new champion.
Excalibur, you called so many of Cage's matches early in his career. Oh, look at this.
Oh, Archer trying to choke slam on Speedball Brian Cage. Oh,
Now Lance Archer's trying to get involved again.
Meanwhile, Kevin Knight trying to take advantage of the momentary distraction. Discus lariat leapt over by that DDT landing
DT.
Cover made, leg is hooked, and now Brian Cage's turn to kick out.
Brian Cage being out of action for how many months? Like so long, and still having this type of a matchup with a guy who's been on a full-time schedule, the TNT champion, Kevin Knight.
Yeah, it's about a year and 2 months away from the ring for Brian Cage, but Kevin Knight
Lost it, he didn't have it all.
got hung upside down. Brian Cage dragging Kevin Knight up from the mat.
Oh my God, big an animal.
Incredible power.
Oh my God, this is bad.
Reverse it.
Man, give both men credit. What a heck of a title match we've got in front of us. Brian Cage has not lost a step.
But the champ Kevin Knight with the
UFO splash. Yes.